Boog, what do you anticipate this season from Fournette? It seems like he had a motivated offseason.
Well, he should have had a motivated offseason. I think he's going to have a big year. And here's kind of what happens, guys. You know, when you're a rookie, you come in and you go from draft to minicamp to training and training camp, and you're all in football. But that following year is the first time you have money and you have time. And what does that lead to? Usually a lot of laziness, man. And it's just, it happens to everybody. I think Leonard went through a situation where now this offseason going into year 3, he's motivated, he's ready to go. I think he understands what being a professional is like. I expect him to have a good season. I think this year is going to be his best year.
When you look at this week in preseason, what don't you really have an idea of the 53 if you're a coaching staff and GM? What are you looking to get accomplished here in the last one?
Oh, you know exactly who your team is right now. I think that if you're a team, you know, you're sitting here saying, okay, I know out of my 53 guys, I probably know 48 or 49 of them. So what am I looking to get? I'm trying to find those last 4 or 5 guys that are going to be fringe guys on my roster. But for the most part, you know exactly who's going to be on your team. That's why none of the starters play. If you're a guy playing this week, you're either playing for a job or you're just kind of killing time until you go back to making Popeye sandwiches next week.
Well, about that, Boog, you heard that Popeyes is out of sandwiches nationally. Like, there's literally no more chicken sandwiches left.
How did that happen, first of all?
It's poor planning.
I didn't get one.
Looks like
and
it.
And then to me, the funniest thing I saw was Chick-fil-A and Popeyes are going back and forth, right? And so Chick-fil-A puts up a billboard and says, FYI, we don't run out of sandwiches. And then Popeyes counters and says, FYI, people have to eat on Sundays. It's like the funniest thing I've ever seen this week, dude. It's crazy.
When we get older, Boog, we'll all talk to our grandchildren about where we were at during the chicken wars of 2019. It's been fascinating to watch. We have the NFL wars coming up pretty soon here. Jordy is obsessed with Jon Gruden, Hard Knocks. I want your perspective on this because obviously you won a Super Bowl with Gruden. Like you know him. Does he seem different now from what you've seen compared to when you were working with him?
No, not at all. John hadn't changed a lick, and I give him credit. I think he's matured with his people skills, but as far as him changing who he is, he's a prickly little guy, man. He's an offensive genius, I think, when it comes to formations and different things like that. But at his core, Jon Gruden is a guy who rubs quarterbacks the wrong way. He's going to have a team that's going to be a little bit edgy, and I think the relationship between he and his quarterback is always going to be a complicated relationship, and I think we see that right now with Derek Carr.
Booger McFarland, brought to you by Central Plumbing Company, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. You bring up the quarterback position. It's a story that has rocked more than sports. Really, it's kind of transcended and gone into more mainstream news is the retirement of Andrew Luck going into his 7th season with the Indianapolis Colts, a former number 1 pick, a guaranteed number 1 pick coming out of Stanford. As we said, going into year 7, announces he's retiring here. What'd you make of that story?
You know, man, I think a lot of people were shocked. And, you know, anytime as a fan we have something that's taken away, we get really sensitive and things bother us. But here's how I look at it. Andrew Luck's a grown man, and Andrew Luck's probably made close to $100 million. I think he likes football. I think there was a point in time where he loved football. But I think the injuries and the physical pounding and the mental, just the mental gymnastics that football plays on you. Here's the thing about that Andrew Luck people don't realize. Andrew Luck was in a very similar situation to myself. And here's what I mean by that. Think about this. Andrew Luck followed Peyton Manning, right?
Yeah.
Hall of Famer. He's had to answer questions about his performance, about injuries, about et cetera, for the last, 3 or 4 years. I did the same thing, guys. I followed Warren Sapp, Hall of Famer. People always came to me, well, you know, how come you're not doing this like Sapp? How come you're not doing that? What's going on with that? And, man, that gets really, really frustrating because you try to be yourself, but you're always being compared to the guy that you're following. On top of that, no matter what Andrew Luck did, he was never going to be Peyton Manning. And it finally took me a couple years to realize no matter what I did, I was never going to be Warren Sapp. But the constant bombardment, the constant questioning, the constant frustration with the media. More importantly, the constant injury. I played 9 years. I had 7 surgeries. I enjoyed my time in football. I'll tell you this, guys. I love my life after football. So the fact that Andrew Luck retired and he's moved on with his life, you know what I say? I tip my hat to him and say, hey, man, congratulations. But as fans, we get really bothered because some of our athletes leave us too soon. You know what I say? Hey, man, he's a grown man. Let him do what he wants to do.
Yeah. How many times in it did you want to leave it?
You know, man, I never wanted to leave it per se, just because I knew there was nothing else in America where I could make the amount of money in as short a time as I did. There were times where I got tired of answering the questions and I got tired of being physically hurt. So the cycle that Andrew Luck talks about, injury, pain, rehab, injury, pain, rehab, and I did that all the time. That gets frustrating because football, here's what football's supposed to be. You're supposed to play for 6 months and then just get away from it. But football has turned into a year-round job. And if you're hurt, it's an even more complicated job. And when you have surgeries and when the doctors, you meet with the best doctors in the world and they have no idea what's wrong with you. That's frustrating. And then you realize this. I got $100 million in the bank. I'm about to get married. I'm about to have a kid, but I can't even walk straight.
Yeah.
I can't even figure out what's going on with my body. How can I enjoy everything that I put into it? So I understand what Andrew Luck's going through. I applaud him for having courage. I think, and I hope for fans this doesn't happen, but I think for individuals you're going to start to see a lot more the Calvin Johnson, the Patrick Willis, the Andrew Luck.
Gronkowski?
You know what? Gronkowski, that's a good point. That may be the first thing you've ever contributed to my interview.
Yes! Finally, Boog, yes! What a moment.
I think you're going to see, exactly, I think you're going to start to see more guys say, you know what, man, I got a lot of money, I'm famous, and I'm 29, 30 years old. What the hell am I running up against this wall every day for? So I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
Talking to Booger McFarland at ESPN Booger, the Monday Night Football man himself, looking skinny, looking ready for the season. And week 1, Boog, Texans at Saints in the Superdome, Monday night. How you feeling about coming to the Crescent City?
Well, I'm looking forward. I've already got my reservation at Emerald's for the weekend. I've already got my reservation at Mr. John's Steakhouse. I'm going to have some TJ ribs sent down from Baton Rouge. So all the food.
Look, you know what? How are you going to stay skinny? What? It's all in one weekend?
Yeah, it's all for one weekend. And here's how I do it. I just eat the meat. I don't eat all the bread, the potatoes, and the carbs. But I'm excited. I'm excited because we finally get to see this New Orleans team back on the field after what happened last year. After what happened the last 2 years, the Minneapolis Miracle, and then what happened in the Dome. I think it's going to be a phenomenal season. I'm looking forward to Jared Cook and his offense. I'm looking forward to I see where they activated Sheldon Rankins. I hope he's taking it easy because they don't need him really week 1, week 2. They need him week 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yep.
But I'm excited, man. I think the Texans are going to walk into a hornet's nest just because of all the emotion. And I've said this before on this show. It's not going to be like Hurricane Katrina when the Falcons came. It's not going to be that. But it's going to remind you of a city and a team that's really pissed off, and I can't wait to get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be absolutely spectacular. Monday night in the Dome for the first game is about as sexy as you can get if you're a Saints fan. Not quite as exciting, but still very interesting. LSU, Georgia Southern, Tigers opening up their season this Saturday at Tiger Stadium. And as a defensive expert, Boog, I want to ask you about the challenges of defending a triple option team like Georgia Southern, like people that have been born and raised and mastered this triple option offense.
Well, it's assignment football, and so it's true teamwork. You know, you're not going to have one guy that's going to make all the tackles. So your defensive line has to take the dive guys. Your outside linebackers have to take the quarterback. And then everybody else, your safeties, have to rally to the pitch guys. Like playing assignment football is truly playing option is truly assignment football. And here's what happens. If you start to try to do my job, then the option is going to break. And so I'll be very interested to see the first quarter because everybody's going to come out hair on fire. It's the first game of the year. Tiger Stadium is going crazy. And what usually happens when that goes down?
Everybody's trying to make a play.
Everybody's trying to make a play. Everybody's trying to do somebody else's job so they can get the crowd fired up. And it wouldn't surprise me if Georgia Southern comes out and they drive the football down the field and it's 7-0, and you're like, oh, what in the hell is going on? Because that option takes a little bit to get used to. I don't think LSU should be in any danger of losing the game. What I will say is that if they aren't on the details of the triple option, it could make them look silly. And if you don't believe me, just go back and ask and watch when a Navy or an Army plays Notre Dame. No doubt about it, who the more talented team is. But if you're not on your assignment, your P's and Q's, that triple option will make you look silly.
Yeah, look at Army versus Oklahoma last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Last one, Boog, before you get to the school meeting. You think LSU's legit? You think they're a contender?
I think LSU is legit. I think they have athletes everywhere. My only question that I would have for LSU right now is, it's kind of like, I'm sure you guys have seen the new Lion King. Well, the old Lion King is like the new Lion King. There is a part where Simba's dad.
Yeah, Mufasa.
Mufasa is dead, but he comes back and he tells Simba, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Like, never forget who you are. And I know LSU's going to this spread, this passing game, and all this good stuff. LSU has to remember who they are. At their core, we have always been a team that is physically able to dominate you. I don't care what formation you come out in. As Mufasa told Simba, remember who you are. That's my only question. If LSU remembers who they are, they can play with anybody in America, but they have to be physical. Football is a physical game. I don't care how many wide receivers you have on the field. You got to hit somebody in the mouth. And I want to see them do that time and time again, especially next weekend when we go to Austin.
Talk to you next Wednesday, man. Thank you.
Later, bud.
Booger McFarland checking in from Tampa this morning. That's brought to you by Central Plumbing Company. Brody Miller, an hour from now.